Om Purnamadaha Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnamevavashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Om Brahmanandam Param Sukhadam Kevalam Jnanamurtim Dvandvatitam Gagana Sadrisham Tattvamasya Laksham Ekam Nityam Vimalamachalam Sarvadhi Sakshi Bhutam Bhavatitam Trigunarahitam Sadgurum Tam Namami. Om. Adorations to Sadguru, who is Brahman, the giver of supreme bliss, embodiment of pure consciousness, one without a second, vast as the ether, infinite, eternal, beyond the three gunas and their modifications, the supreme preceptor. Yoga Vasistha in Upashama Prakarana, section 53. Sri Uddalaka continues his practice of reflection, and through this you are being given an example of how to allow your mind to work upon the most substantial value of your life. Your mind is the best instrument you can get. And don't use it for worst reasons. Don't use your mind for worst reasons. Use your mind to attain enlightenment. To figure out who am I, because nothing is more important to you than you. Then who are you? You don't respond back, who are you? No, who am I? So with that, continue. When the desires for the objects of the world are destroyed, first thing you will realize, you are of greater value than all the objects of the world. By objects, you must realize all the world, past, present, and future. All that your mind can explore and imagine, history, geography, geology, astrology, astronomy, of past, present, and future. For in this entire world, you are important. Who am I is most vital. It's like out of many, countless illuminations of the sun. If you want to figure out what illumines, only the sun is important. All the details of the illuminations, they are appearances. This point is not easy to grab. But if you don't grab it, ignorance will grab you like a crab. So when the desires for the objects of the world are destroyed, first thing to understand that the I am is ultimate fulfillment of all desires. All desires you have because of the instinctive urge to find who am I has become distorted. Just like this light of the sun gets refracted through a cloud. The instinctive urge of who am I has become distorted by your vasanas, subtle desires of your subconscious, unconscious. So when you discover and realize, I am that, I am the sun, I shouldn't be amazed by illuminations. You shouldn't get in all these reporters and press, news collectors giving me new report of news about so many illuminations. I'm joking, but the idea to understand all the fantastic things that go on in the world, don't stay fantasized. I am, it's most fantastic. The subtle desires exist only to be dispersed in the vastness of the self. Subtle desires are vasanas, allegorically described like soft clouds. First, dense clouds. Dense clouds, you don't see the sun. Sun goes completely out. But come to softer, not all soft, but just allow a little hole in that black cloud. Just a hole, a holy hole. A sacred hole. As the light begins to come, the vasanas go through amazing transformations. So that's the whole story of your spiritual movement. How you see the same mindset suddenly inspires you to practice meditation, inspires you to go after God's grace. So same vasanas, same cloud that was restricting the sun, pushing him out of the way. Now, allowing the glory of the sun to leak through these subtle desires. And as it begins to leak through, as the ray begins to pass through, cloud becomes egoistic. It discovers how wonderful it is. It looks around its body. The hairs are swaying. Limbs are shining. Ornaments have developed in the body. I'm allegorically described. Now you become aware that you live to develop divine virtues. You live to develop, to have more attunement with God. And in that movement, the entire world that is a constant source of sorrow and grief. All the sorrow and grief that seems to be unterminable, but now it becomes brief. So the more the vasana enjoys the light from the sun, the more it sees itself shimmering with the light. Now what happens? It doesn't go after its ego. What's happening to me? The vasana, this light goes on flowing through your vasanas, and the little group of swirly cloud is dissolving. Other clouds tell it, look, don't practice that. you have become non-existent. These shimmering clouds, who cares? Are shining. None of you is like me. Get out of my way. So, figure that out, what I mean. So, simple point, that you begin to experience self-effacement, and without any stress, rather with a sense of diving into divine expansion. And this is not something that unique, that you don't know already. Each time when you go to sleep, you are suddenly leaping out of the world of turmoil into your inner silence. And the whole sleeping movement is taking you away from the world. All things that you liked, they are being wiped away from you. But you didn't care, don't care. Such a wonderful time, sleep. That gives you subtle insight. What you experience day by day. Now you have come to a state of allowing it to happen with your conscious awakening. And to see all this moves away and you slip into your own essential nature. Who am I? Not the body, not the mind, not the intellect, not the ego, not the past, not the present, not the future. Time, space, beyond all, I am. And that declaration is without the tongue and without any use of senses or the mind, all transcended. So just like you go to sleep and the entire world moves away, you go to deep nitidhyasan, profound vichar, looking for who am I, and slip beyond your ego. And when ego has subsided, there is nothing of this world of time, space, causation. We go beyond WWW. Who, where, when. After the destruction of the mind, if the body, which consists of blood, flesh, marrow and bones, exists or doesn't exist, it is of no consequence to me. When the mind melts away, mind subsides. That's called this. Whenever we talk about destruction of the mind, understand it's just like a cloud that as light goes on passing, one way describing the cloud is being destroyed. Similarly, mind that's constantly led by your ego into a world of multiplicity. That mind now, slipping from the clutches of ego, is just subsiding. The light is passing through it, permeating it to such an extent that mind has no substance in itself. Willingly, sahaj, spontaneously, the mind has allowed itself, just like you spontaneously allow yourself to slip away from the world into deep sleep. The mind allows it to that state where mind becomes unmind, mind manonash, So mano-nash term has to be understood. Otherwise, nash term means always turn your attention to your fist. I will crack it. I will destroy it. You are not destroying anything. Illusions are not handled by might. They are handled by the light of truth and giving you simple information. The way you consider I am is a miserable predicament. How do you consider I am? I am the body. It's just like a person living in a house that's inflammable at every step. Should be surprised. That's the predicament of everyone in every stage. If the very Earth planet is perishable. But don't go into too much. The idea I'm referring to, the body you are living in, Mahabharata gives an allegorical story called Laksha Griha, the house of shellac. And without your knowing, one day, death will suddenly burn it up. That was the plot in Mahabharata. Pandavas were lured to live in the house plotted by ignorance, demoniac personality, shellac. And it looked so wonderful and delightful. But the Pandavas started scratching the house here and there, especially Bhima. When he scratched, he discovered everything is inflammable. Flammable. Everything is burns up. And then all the Pandavas started planning how to outfox the demoniac plot. Without telling them, they started building up an inner tunnel. So, without telling people what you are going to do, if you have to take any trip in the world, you tell everybody. But you take a trip internally, don't go and telling it. You will practice meditation, sit down calmly and start doing it. Not start calling everybody. I'm going to practice meditation. Come with me. I will be surprised many people do it. So that inner tunnel is the practice of your vichar, your inquiry, your meditation. Thereby you create a whole tunnel. And even before death destroys your body, you smash on the head of the death and destroy it. Figure that out. In other words, even while you are alive, you are not confined or restricted by that house of shellac. And no longer you are under the plot of death to be destroyed. So many scriptures have given so many stories, and they are very interesting. And this house of shellac, your body, just to give you not very medical statement, that's just blood, flesh, marrow, bones. None of this is going to stay stable. And who is keeping the eye on it? The spirit of death. So now, Uddalaka says, this predicament used to be my enemy, of being confined to the body. But now I have nothing to do with it. I am not the body. A reflected sun in a jar is being ridiculed. Why is it you are always shaky, never calm? But when it realizes I am the sun, all ridicules mean nothing. I am no longer related to the mind, which seeks the body for the fulfillment of its desires. It's mind's problem. It wants to get fulfilled through the body. Mind's illusion. And its illusions are never perfect. You dream, and your mind wants to eat ice cream. I'm joking. Or you eat all the ice cream. But suddenly a vulture flies by and you are interrupted. You wake up. What happened to all your ice cream? What happened to your mental fulfillment? That's the story of the mind. Mind has held so many desires, so many cravings. It has experienced the fulfillment of those desires and fulfillment of your cravings. Wonder of wonders, miracle of miracles have been experienced. But all that remains as a story. You are the unshakable self. In other words, your perfection is not in the confines of your mind. It is not the mind that is giving you substantiality. It is the unmind process that is giving you substantiality. As the mind calms down, as the mind allows to open a subtle channel Godward, as ego subsides, your whole personality becomes relaxed. In that process, you attain enlightenment, but you don't know who attained it. The very you that wanted to attain it doesn't exist. I am no longer overpowered by ignorance. Pain, sorrow, and grief have come to an end. Experiences of pain and pleasure, they are, as long as you are dependent on your mind for your fulfillment. As long as the sun is depending on a cloud for having a way, pathway, that type of predicament is ridiculous. As long as man eva manushyanam karanam bandha mokshayo, mind is the cause of bondage and release. As long as you are involved with solving the problem of bondage limitation, dependence, sorrow, misery, and how to get out of it. Entire story of bondage and release is being told by this foxy mind. Beyond this, you outfox it, all this story doesn't apply. All this is a myth, mithya, false. Just as lowly persons are not admitted before the presence of a king, in the same manner the mind and senses have no access into the domain of the self. For the masses, the illustration. Very powerful king. Now, ordinary people, laborers and little people doing so many jobs in the world, they have no access. They can't just go into the royal gates and shake hands with the king. They will be thrown away. This is nothing to highlight about the politics. Just a simile. Just like a rabbit dares not come before a lion. In the same way, mind and senses and experiences that are in that realm, they cannot dare come in the realm of enlightenment, the realm of your essential self. All the shadows of the world dare not come before the sun to complain why we are kept in miserable state. How to secure shadows? Democratic method. And without them, without the mind and senses, how can the vasanas find their way to the expansion of the self? Just going to give another step. Just like mind and senses cannot bring within their domain enlightenment, self cannot come within the domain of mind and senses. A great king will not come in the domain of little workers of the world. In the same way, coming to mind and coming to vasana level, behind mind and senses there are subtle desires of your subconscious, subtle impressions of the unconscious. Even in that domain of impressions and subtle desires, truth cannot come within that domain. So therefore you need manonash and vasana kshaya. Mind has to become calmed down, that manonash. Similarly, vasanas are like soft clouds. And they gradually go on disappearing as you go on spiritually advancing. Until you discover who am I completely, your vasanas will not reform. The cloud dissolves and reforms. And that is when you are not enlightened. Enlightened, it dissolves and is not going to reform. Then that's called vasana kshaya. And the final state, the veil of illusion, that cannot exist. Once you have stepped beyond two levels, manonash, mind enjoying serenity, vasana kshaya, not holding worldly suppressed desires in a subtle state. When both have become cleared, then your real you is ever liberated. In allegorical language, then you realize this. Just as clarified butter is no longer a part of milk, in the same way, I am no longer related to the body, mind, and senses. Another allegorical illustration. You churn milk. If you are a butter lover, milk you secure only to churn it. Once you have churned it and butter has come out, now the part of the milk says, bring it back to me. Even if the butter is put back, it will not get blended with the watery milk. Once churning has happened, the watery balance cannot accept the butter. Butter cannot go into it. In other words, once you have come to butter estate, it is a better estate. It will not mingle with your old style. Old style mind, your mind is ordinary milk. This dark godly vision is butter. And lo and behold, you have turned yourself into a swan. And a swan has an attribute of separating milk, butter and water. If you adulterate water with milk and butter, etc., the swan will separate butter and leave the water behind. It's not a biological study. It's allegorical. Therefore, swan is called hamsa. And its meaning is aham, I, sa, that. Hamsa. It's always double meaning. First, through the masses, turn into swan. And the quality of the swan can separate true essence from adulterated state of liquid. Similarly, if you have come to that state of separating truth from falsehood, you are no longer the same, you are hamsa. I am that. And the mantra goes both ways. Hamsa, soham, sah, aham. That is I am. I am that, that am I. Hamsa, soham. So become a swan, you don't stay a duck. That's the message behind. I'm no longer related to the body, mind, or senses. However, they will continue to delight me. Another important point to understand, that while you are moving towards becoming a swan, moving towards attaining that quality of discrimination, to truth separated from falsehood, it is not a one-step movement. It's a progressive movement. As you start doing it, now your delight has not gone away. This is here the big problem with the masses. When you are told the real happiness is in moving towards God realization. Not in this world, all worldly pleasure, eat, drink, be merry. Now, people develop a conflict in their mind. So some start getting suddenly disconnected from all their comfortable way of living, moving towards something painful, full of austerity. That's an error. Next point, living with sadness. Don't get happy with all these things. Stay miserable. And that has been the general idea of considering a person saintly. He turns away from anything that delights the masses. But try to understand. As you become spiritually advanced, or as you evolve with spirituality, you begin to recognize divine in all relations. If you enjoyed loving your child, you will have greater love for your child than you previously imagined. That's Vairagya. Because now you are seeing God in the child. Everything that you love, it puts a finger on God's nose. So, all lovable things you are not going to shut out, but rather you allow them to open the window to the source of all love. The more harmony, the more peace, the more joyous, agreeable setup of life, greater is your possibility to come closer to God. Figure that out. That's mature religion. Keeping mind always under a stress and in a state of contradiction. That's the kindergarten stage. You don't grow up into advanced stage quickly, but kindergarten stage has to be controlled with patience. You have to get out of it and allow. If philosophy of be good, do good. If you be good, how will you know that you are really good? If the world around is not there. And if you do good only to good people, what type of goodness you have? You are a doctor. You will treat only healthy people. So what type of joy you have? Your goodness shines when you stay good even in difficult circumstances, challenging situations. How good! So, the joy will continue to be there more and more, even with the presence of neighbors, even with the presence of your family, presence of all worldly setup. But only a deeper movement has gone on that nobody sees. You have detached from earthly values and becoming attached to the divine value inherent in all things. And that's again is a progressive movement. How much can you detach? How much can you attach? Away from worldly associations, I am now surrounded by celestial beings in the form of divine virtues. Now what happens? Your internal life has becoming richer as you develop Godward vision. Ghat ghat mein hai Sai Ramta. In every individual, in every personality, there dwells God. And when you are moving towards that, your outer appearance will be an appearance of simplicity. You are not possessing so many things, you are not having so many ornaments and so many showy things. But you don't have to do that. You're internally, you have such a fashionable crowd. Crowd of people whose ornaments never fade, whose fragrance doesn't go away, whose beauty don't wither. So that type of family you have gotten now for Christmas. Developing virtuous, internal virtuous qualities and discovering your inner strength and your relation with God and your future to possess a heart that sends out goodwill for the entire universe. All this wonderful destiny waits you. So that he describes, I am now surrounded by celestial beings in the form of divine virtues. They are my near and dear relatives. And they are purity, fulfillment, compassion, universal love, truthfulness, wisdom, bliss, immutability, non-covetousness, all-pervasiveness, fearlessness, and non-duality. These are now your big family. You have constant festivity. You don't wait for one day before Christmas. We have eternal Christmas. But while I'm describing the climax, this is a progressive movement. That's the goal of your life. No matter how many challenges you may face, no matter how much you may come to a state of developing complete despair, no matter what, that's your goal. Section 54. Sage Uddalakas, spiritual practice. Same practice continues now in a more practical way. Sage Vasishtha continued, O Rama, having thus ascertained his pure intellect, Sage Uddalaka adopted the lotus pose and with eyes closed began to practice meditation on Om. Pranayam is being introduced for practical purpose through the Yoga Vasistha. How to begin the journey even in ordinary yogic disciplines like breathing. And spiritual journey means leading to the state of enlightenment, liberation. And subtle mantra is Om Upasana. Brahman presented to the masses on the basis of revelations of the sages as a mantra Om. Om has 3 stages, A, U and M. Your personality has 3 stages, physical, subtle, causal. But Om is not only just the 3 stages, transcendental. Om has 4 aspects, A, U, M, and called a dot. It's represented by a little dot in the Sanskrit literature, Anuswar. That dot implies transcending all, transcendent, called Turiya the 4th. And if you want to go to further detail, or A aspect it implies that you are focusing your attention on first state of your experience. I am body. People say I am body, but very few are really scientific about it. If you are body, then you should look at the world. You are connected with the world at every moment. Nothing happens in you unless it implies happening in the whole universe. Everything doesn't impact everybody. Some big thing happens and it impacts. A big hurricane comes somewhere and volcanic eruption and it impacts on people. That you can see. But if you follow that science, there is nothing that happens that does not relate to the entire universe. Nothing. So therefore, you are universal body. If you say, I am the body, then you are universal matter. The whole universe and your body cannot be separated. This point is brought into your upasana. You begin introducing yourself. First, I am body, the Sanskrit term is Vishwa, identity with the body. Now your mind opening to the entire universal matter, physical universe, is called Virat. So, I am body, I am Virat. If you say, I am a wave, you can say with the same tongue, I am the ocean. So, allow your mind to handle this in a very joyous way. I am body, I am the universe. Next stage. Now we become a little more mature. The experience, the idea I am body, where does it come from? Not from the body. When the body is paralyzed or anesthetized, you have no awareness of body. It's a mind. Mind is giving you the illusion that you are experiencing body different from mind. And you create a separation, body and mind. But without mind, could you have done that? Without mind, can you ever recognize anything? So, body actually is mind. So now you are coming to a state of affirmation. I am mind. But here again, with open heart, understanding, If I am a wave mind, then I am the ocean of mind. How can you separate a wave from the ocean? How can you separate your mind from the minds of countless people? Never. I will keep it only in my mind. I won't share it with you. That you can't do that. The moment you feel miserable, many begin to share your misery without your knowing it. The moment you are joyous, many begin to share your joy. You don't have to know it. So, identified with individuality of mind is called Tejas. That gives you, mind is the one that lights up your body. Tej is lighting. So you are Tejas as individual, but that Tejas is Hiranyagarbha, cosmic mind. Hiranya is gold, the mystic gold. Light of mystic, in other words, mystic light that shines up the entire universe. That's called Hiranyagarbha. So if you are lighting up your personality as a mind, Tejas, you are at the same time lighting up the entire universe. The mind that knows, it is the mind that knows everything, not just what you are knowing in relation to your personality. That mind has that capacity to know all that is. So don't confine your mind into your kitchen. That's U aspect of Om. M aspect, now you are going even beyond your mind to the unconscious level. That unconscious level maintains a subtle individuality in a very trace form. That state becomes as if one with God. Not completely, but just as if. So it is called pragya state. A state where you have a special knowledge that you didn't have in other states. And the universal cosmic aspect is Ishvara. So on one side you are pragya, and in another aspect, in a real aspect, Ishvara. So we talk about three godly levels. Virat, cosmic mind, cosmic body. Hiranyagarbha, cosmic mind. Ishvara, cosmic causal body. And through three aspects of Om, you are relating yourself to all these three planes. But that's not end. When you go through this, now comes plunging into transcendental. That's called Turiya, the fourth. Mind is completely wiped out. There is nothing but absolute reality. The only way you can express it through silence, mystic silence. But all this begin with a simple pranayam, and I will give you the Yoga Vasistha method, what he has proposed. He proposed that there are 3.5 syllables in Om. Without going into details, I'm just giving you the summary. Think of Om as A plus O plus M. In order to A aspect is exhalation. Sit relaxed. And first state, exhale. Feel free of stress. And while doing that, feel unity with the whole universe. Next, you begin to breathe in. O, A plus O plus M, 3 stages.
Not you, but O.
I'm making it from practical point of view. If you want to use you, you can use you. As long as you don't say you. O, the sound O is important. Now you are breathing in. Oh, it's a mental. As you are breathing in, you are focused on oh, expansion. How much? The expansion is that you are all mind. Oh, that's what people always say. Oh. Third stage. Ma. The ma stage is retain. Don't breathe in, not breathe out. Simply retention. So with A, you exhale. O, you are inhaling. Turn to your mind. Sahasrara chakra has opened. Nectar is showering. And then again repeat. So when you are experiencing the showering, that's the fourth step. Then begin again. So without putting your hand near your nose, just watch your breath and practice deep breathing. Or breathing out. O, breathing in, inhaling deep, deep, deep. Fly. And then come back again. This pranayama comes from Yoga Vasistha. And with this I will conclude. Om Trayambakam Yamahe Sugandhim Pushtivardhanam Urvarkum Bandhanan Mrityor Mukshiyamamritat Om Sarve Bhavantu Sukhina Sarve Santu Niramaya Sarve Bhadrani Pashyant Ma Kashchid Dukbhag Bhavet Asato Ma Sadgamaya Tamaso Ma Jyotirgamaya Mrityor Ma Mritam Gamaya Om Purnamadaha Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnamevavashishyate Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Om Hari Om Tat Sat.